All right, welcome everybody to the October 9th day shift and night shift 24-hour planning cycle planning meeting. Please silence your cell phones, take your radios and turn them down, and keep all side discussions to a minimum. We'll start off with the current situation with the outgoing planning ops, Don Fraguglia.
All right, can I borrow your laser pointer? Thank you. Okay, like that. Oh boy. Okay, it's a big fire. We'll start. I just got off the phone. Well, it was about an hour ago now, but I got off the phone with Day Ops, Alex McBath, who's been out there doing it for the last 14 days. So we'll start here at the zone break. Where the north and the south zone break. This fire has been hung up all along the south fork of the San Joaquin River. Gosh, probably about 5 miles of river out there that it's been hung up on, and it's been that way since we got here 14 days ago. That continues to be static out there, no changes, no movement. Where the fire has crossed over the south fork of the San Joaquin River, that fire was quiet today. It didn't really move a whole lot. Fire behavior was fairly minimal. We're attributing that obviously to the increase in relative humidity and the cloud cover that came over up there, quite a bit cooler also up there today. So that fire didn't move a whole lot. 24 hours ago, we fired out this road from the Vermilion Valley Resort all the way down towards Mono Hot Springs. That was about 4 miles of road. That continues to hold today. Was static in there, no movement of the fire whatsoever, and it was a good, successful day. I guess the big story to update everybody on for day shift today was that the hotshot crews that were out there doing structured defense around Florence Lake were actually, with the change in the weather, they were able to plug in and start going direct on both flanks of this slop over where it goes over the 80 road. And so they think they're going to make good progress out there over the coming days. No chance for rotor wing today. It was real socked in, too smoky, but when the air does clear out, if we can support them with rotor wing, they'll go even faster out there. So we did insert a wildland fire module out here to to the Muir Trail Ranch in Blaney Meadows. They're out there looking at the structures and what needs to occur out there should the fire ever reach that place. Moving back along the Kaiser Pass Road, this is that 80 road, Forest 80 that we burned out about a week and a half ago. Looks good, was static in there today, as well as this piece on the 05 road, right in there like that. That's the Sample Meadows Road, and that's something we burned 2 days ago, and that all held today. The prep is in on the 80 road. That's that main drag that goes up to Edison Lake, and that looks right about there on the map. Prep's in, ready to go should you have to fall back and deal with that. Into Huntington Lake and then Point South, the China Peak ski area sits right there where the base camp's at. That was a good day today. We are going to add some black on the map, I believe, there to the south at the end of the shift today when we download. And then down into branch 2529, which is CAL FIRE has been handling for us for the last 14 days. Branch breaks right about there all the way down Shaver Lake. And all the way out and around. It's a quiet day out there. Nothing new to report. The hose has mostly been pulled out, and they're doing patrols and answering calls for service. So with that, end of my report.
All right, thanks, Don, and thank you for leaving us a good product. Real quick, we are going to go over our objectives. We did do some tweaking. So for our first objective, ensure firefighter and public safety by using strategies and tactics that mitigate known and anticipated hazards while following the CDC COVID-19 guidelines. We're going to minimize threat to private property, communities, businesses, and critical infrastructure, maintain and enhance relationships with represented agencies, stakeholders, local landowners, and the general public. We're going to minimize the cost of the incident by employing tactics that have the highest probability of success while minimizing firefighter exposure, and implement suppression repair plan through close coordination with agency resource advisors to reduce impacts to natural and cultural resources and reduce excessive erosion. As far as our control objectives, nothing has changed. Are they still valid? Awesome. All right, with that, I am going to bring up our fire weather meteorologist, John Pendergast.
All right, good evening. John Pendergrast, incident meteorologist. We're going to take a look at some of the ambient conditions in place for today. So to start out, here's our heat map. I like to show this just to show where the active fire growth areas were on the fire. Notice Division November, especially where they're doing some operations up there, some prep work and operations. Also, the north side of the fire has been active for quite a while now, just crawling up the terrain there. Notice that the upside terrain is, of course, in the northeastern direction. That's where a lot of the natural progression has been during the day and nighttime periods. Satellite image, this is just taken a snapshot about 30 minutes ago, showing that we kind of scoured out some of the clouds and a lot of the smoke during the course of the day across central California. And you can kind of see the remnants, the approaching system coming in from the Pacific. That's going to bring us our weekend weather, if you want to call it that, for Saturday. Of course, one of the biggest impacts on this fire are the public impacts in the form of smoke and pollutants. And just wanted to show this today, showing how we started out this morning with a lot of bad air right around the fire areas, unhealthy air, unhealthy for sensitive groups as well, confined to the fire area. And the good news is that it was just moderate levels across the Fresno Valley and toward the coast. And this was a snapshot this afternoon showing general improvement with some good air in a lot of places along the east coast, the west coast. And just moderate up in most of the valley, and the worst air is just confined to the fire area and the higher slopes and terrain where things didn't quite mix out during the course of the day. So here's a snapshot of what's ahead for the coming periods. We've got this one system which has already kind of moved out of the area, brought us all the cloud cover that we had today across the fire, helped with the conditions, as was earlier mentioned. And this is our weekend system out here over the open Pacific that's going to be rapidly approaching Southern California by Saturday. And here's a visualization of what's going to be happening. So we had this trough over California that gave us the cooler conditions and improved humidities. And by Saturday, the feature that I just showed on the photograph is going to be working down even south of Southern California, approaching the coastline, giving us those changing conditions. Of course, the rain chances have been shaded out of the forecast with this event, but it's going to be cool with higher humidities during the course of Saturday especially. So here's the forecast matrix going out through next week. The good news is there's a lot of green on the map as we go through tomorrow and Saturday. The only moderate areas are going to be in the form of some ridgetop winds, a little stronger, around 14, 16 miles an hour in the afternoon. And then we start seeing some drying early next week. Notice how we start seeing some yellows and some reds starting to appear as high pressure builds back into the region behind that departing system. And it looks like high pressure is going to be with us for next week. Not really seeing much of a change. It's just going to get drier during the course of the week and warming as well. So that's what we'll be looking forward into next week. Drier and warmer will be the story. End of report.
All right. Thanks, John. We'll bring up fire behavior with Jeff Shelton. And Jeff, I appreciate you staying back to help us out a little bit on that.
You're welcome. Jeff Shelton, fire behavior. So we're reaping the benefits of a juicier atmosphere, a little more moisture. It's broken that chain between the timber litter, the grass, and the heavier fuels. And so that has allowed the crews out there to be a little more aggressive and sneak up on stuff that they haven't been able to. The fire staying a surface fire, it's not climbing into the canopy and spitting out spots beyond where they were working behind them. And so because it's remaining a surface fire and moving across, they have a real good idea of where the fire is going to go, and that allows them to go direct. This fire has predominantly been kind of a disorganized fire front. If you look at the dozer line from the first couple weeks, fire was everywhere, and they had to wrangle it back in. Now it's moving a little more consistent just through the surface fuels. And I expect that with the relative humidity that we have, if you could throw that graphic back up with the matrix, with the relative humidity, especially the recovery we have at night, it's going to be a double-edged sword. It's going to take those 1 hour fuels out of the spread, but if you're counting on using those to tie in any firing, I put in the forecast to plan on extra fuel, mixed fuel, because it's going to be hard to carry from that point. The heavy fuels, the 1,000-hour fuels, still super low. They're going to retain heat even through these humidities. They're going to wait for some sort of rain or snow to develop. And so if crews are successful at going direct, which looking at these weather conditions, especially the winds are going to be fairly light with the smoke still locked in there. There's not a lot of differential heating between slopes, so the air is going to be stagnant. They're going to be able to have a great deal of success. If they can break the chain between the fire moving log to log through the heavies, the fire will remain fairly static and parked in the near future. The one place that does have some concern is out in the wilderness areas to the north that are just on the other side of the zone break, that are in the north zone. And those do have some potential, but again, it's going to be a race with the calendar and the current fire behavior. The ERCs, even though these conditions are trending down, the ERCs have come from historic over the last couple of days. We are still actually today setting ERC records, even though it doesn't seem like it. We're down at right around the 97th percentile. So that's just something to be mindful for the crews going out there tomorrow, that if something finds alignment, any type of alignment and the fire starts moving, the heat from that heavy material will drive the moisture out of that 1 hour stuff so quick, and then you'll have a firefight and fire moving up the landscape. So that's one of the things I'll be briefing on tomorrow, is not to let your guard down with so much energy still sitting on the ground. It's just going to take a lot longer for that part of the fuels to become unavailable. If you have any questions, please find me and be happy to answer them.
All right, thanks, Jeff. For our operational assignments, we'll bring up Clint Gould, Planning Ops.
Good evening, everyone. So Team 5 has passed off a good package for us. Not a whole lot of changes going on out there. Branch 20, keeping the same divisions pretty much, except for Division Papa. We're putting in one of our team divisions because the division is leaving with Team 5. So Division Mike, we got Isaiah Naylor and Mitchison. They're going to still continue to scout indirect line opportunities from Edison Lake towards Devil's Bathtub. Also talking with ops and some of the other ones. There's a few trail systems out there with the limited fire activity today. Crews are checking different opportunities to go a little bit more from Edison Lake westerly rather than north to Florence, or towards Devil's Lake. So we are going to be assessing that also, and get what we hear back from the crews on potential for pulling that off. Division November, we got Joaquin and Kennedy that are out there. They're going to continue to execute defensive firing as needed in that out there in the Florence Lake area. However, we just heard that with the activity that happened today, we're looking at a more direct line with the crews and engines that we have out there. So that may be a short change, seeing how that is new information as of recently. Papa, Damon Carson Hall, Team 14 Division, with a trainee of DeHart. They're going to continue in the horseshoe in Papa to prepare for tactical firing if needed, and also look for opportunities off the 5 road to pinch it, because that fire is actually in the old fire scar, the Aspen Scar, and has slowed. So we don't want to put extra fire out there if we don't have to. So we are ready to go as needed there. Division Romeo is Valaquez. They're still going to secure the edge to the extent necessary to prevent the fire spread. That's that section they were talking about down here near the drop point of potentially putting black on the map tomorrow. So Romeo may be looking good for the duration. Down there in branch 25 and 29 in the bottom, they're still I'm going to butcher these names. Quebecy and Jeriquet. in the SUV and WXZ. They're going to continue to secure the fire edge, providing structure, doing the suppression repair, and then they're also going to be pulling any additional backhaul that may be out there. So we are still in need of at least 5 crews, looking at multiple engines, whether single increment or strike teams, and currently that is the need for tomorrow. End of report.
All right, thanks, Clint. Bring up air operations with Brian Sexton.
Evening, everyone. I just wanted to start out by saying thank you to Team 5, John Kesey and Ray Ucha. Thank you for the transition and setting us up for success. Appreciate it. As was mentioned by operations, we had a quiet day for aviation due to visibility. And for tomorrow's lineup, we're looking at 14 helicopters and air attack based out of Fresno here at the Air Attack base. You have Helicopter 507 available for intelligence products and air attack, and then you have Air Attack 15 for aerial supervision. South Zone at Aubrey Helibase, we have 6 helicopters. We have 2 Type 1s, 3 Type 2s, and 1 Type 3. We have Helco available out of Aubrey. Out of the North Zone, we have 7 helicopters. We have 3 Type 1s, 2 Type 2s, and 2 Type 3s. And then we have Helicopter 407 available out of Visalia for medevac, 24-hour hoist NVG-capable helicopter, and report for aviation.
All right, thanks, Brian. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Greg Marfel for safety.
Good evening. The 215A has been validated by operations. Also for branch 20 tomorrow, there will be 4 safety officers and 7 line EMS personnel. And for the night shift, there'll be 1 safety officer and 1 line EMS personnel. And on branch 25 and 29 tomorrow, there'll be 2 safety officers, and there's 2 ambulances assigned to the fire.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg. All right, looking for team consensus and support the plan. Logistics. Communications, Joe. Medical. Is Blaine in here? Support. Copy. Information. Finance. Do we have our resource advisor? Did they make it in tonight? Looks like no. Okay. Human resources. And liaison. Support. And CAL FIRE. Did we get CAL FIRE rep in tonight? It does not look like it. All right. With that, I'm going to bring up our incident commander, Mike Strawn, for closing remarks.
Thanks, Chris. Cappy. So first off, Rick, Team 5, thank you very much. So team, tomorrow, emphasis on safety. We have transition tomorrow. We know what that brings. New faces, new places, a lot of moving parts. We just need to slow down and make sure everybody knows the plan before we step off. Also, emphasize driving, snags. We've got a change of plan. We're able to go direct in the country where we were going to fire off. So just make sure everybody's got the plan before we truly step off. Lastly, a little different plan with COVID and how we deal with COVID. We're going to be implementing a little bit different tomorrow, so that will be a change for everybody. So just we know the plan. We're just going to implement it and we keep moving forward. I approve the plan.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. All right. IAP components are due to resources by 1900. Our next briefing will be tomorrow, 0700 here. It will be a broadcasted briefing like it has been. Also, tomorrow night, we will be doing a radio briefing for the night shift. So after this meeting tomorrow night, be prepared for the folks that are doing the radio briefing. And I've reached out to most of you for that. With that, have a good evening and turn your cell phones, radios, and you guys can talk now. Have a good night.